Hey everybody, hope you're having a good Thanksgiving weekend. Wanted to jump on here quick because on Monday I made a video about Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation that stirred kind of a lot of conversation on this channel, some really good conversation, which I loved. And some of it, I wouldn't say that it was pushback so much as it was people trying, I think, to be protective of me and maybe protective of my audience a little bit to make sure that we don't get taken in by Marjorie Taylor Greene. They wanted to make sure that I knew that she hasn't changed her positions. And yeah, for sure, that was my point actually of the video, that because Marjorie Taylor Greene has not changed her positions on a whole bunch of core MAGA policies and beliefs, I think that positions her to do a ton of damage to Donald Trump with his base, because I think people will listen to her who won't listen to me about how he's dishonest and how he's using them. And so I actually got kind of emotional when I heard her speaking, because I thought she's speaking to people that I can't speak to, and I disagree with almost everything that she stands for. So the day after that video came out, we recorded our second Culture, Faith, and Politics Tuesday night live stream. And Tuesday night's theme was Trump's weird and terrible week. So we counted down the bottom 5 worst Trump stories over the past 10 days or so. And so what's going to follow here is a brief section where Ken Napzok and I talked about the reaction to my Marjorie Taylor Greene video. And I'm sharing this for 2 reasons. First, because I think our conversation is going to really help clarify exactly what I am saying about Marjorie Taylor Greene. But second, because if you haven't checked out our Tuesday live streams yet, this is a chance to just see a few minutes of what we're doing every Tuesday night. So enjoy. And then the last one here.
Here we go. Number 1, MTG. That's Marjorie Taylor Greene, not Magic the Gathering card game. Goes Thelma and Louise on Trump. And I'm going to bring up the video you did. This is very bad for Trump. I watched this last night while playing Fortnite. It was a great watch, Pat, and I agree with it.
Yeah, and so I just want to open this up here. I did this whole video on it last night, so I'm not going to repeat all of that. But what's interesting to me, and this is this larger conversation we were going to have for a few minutes. What's interesting to me is how sort of polarizing it was in the comments on the channel, again, with people who were like very wanting to make sure that I'm not being fooled by Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like all these things, they're just true. All these things, she waited till her pension kicks in, and I mean, before she resigns, and it's like, I'll one up you on that. She made all kinds of money. Yeah. I would say probably crookedly. Yeah. As a congresswoman,
she's just a good trader, Pat. She's just a good stock trader.
Right. Right. So I have no illusions about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I want to make that clear. Yeah. And that, though, and what I keep saying is that is what makes it important, what she says, because she has these views that I just think are vile. And we listed some of these last week, you and I, when we were talking about this. But if you just listen to her speech, she listed all the ways that she is still, an America first, MAGA, and she agrees with Trump on everything but a few things. And everything that she listed to show her credentials was something that I just recoil against. And I especially recoil against the fact that she does that as a Christian, and she wears the cross around her neck. She talked about transing, the way she talked about that was just like cruel, I thought, the way she put it. She talked about, people coming in and taking our jobs. And she talked about not giving money to, this is in her resignation talk. She talks about being against foreign aid while hundreds of thousands of people are dying because of Elon Musk and Donald Trump put USAID in the wood chipper. So it's, I have no illusions about Marjorie Taylor Greene. And that's the point. She is somebody who believes all of these things, and she's turning on Trump, and she's turning on him because he lied to her, and he's attacking her for not being no longer being part of his cult. When you brought this up last week, you talked about people going on a change journey. And that we have to allow people to go on a change journey. So I want people to hear me clearly on this. I'm not making any judgment about whether Marjorie Taylor Greene is on this real change journey. I can't see her heart. I can see just her words. She still believes all this stuff that I just find vile and offensive. Okay. But she is changing in terms of her relationship with Trump. And when it comes to that phrase that you used, a change journey, I look at the people who listen to her, and they've got two issues. I think that like the real QAnon type, and the real MAGA base has two issues. One of them is this whole set of beliefs that they have that I just think are I just strongly recoil against these nativist kind of beliefs and the bigotry and all this kind of stuff. But the second problem they have is that they think Donald Trump has a plan and he's the guy. And even though he's working against their interests, he's the guy. Trust the plan. And so he's able to hoodwink all these people that he cares about these same issues that they care about. A lot of them are economic, but not all of them. Some of them are cultural, and he'll play to that too. But he does not have their economic interests in mind at all. He's a global elite. And so they see him do things that obviously go against their interests, and they say, trust the plan. And Marjorie Taylor Greene said, there is no plan. That's what's important. And she pulled the mask off. So if they can disentangle themselves from this one problem, which is their trust in Donald Trump, then you can have a conversation with people about all these other things. Like, really, you believe that? Let's talk about immigration. Let's have rational discussions about these things and come to an understanding. You can't do that when you've got a guy stirring the pot constantly and lying to them. And so that's why I think it's really significant when she said, there is no plan to save the world, and no one is playing 4D chess. This is absurdity and unseriousness. I think that's going to leave a mark.
Yeah, this is again, we keep saying a bigger conversation because we're trying to squeeze so much in, but I think it's a valuable conversation. I'm not just someone. I'm not a hired gun here working with you. We connected because I've been watching you for a while, and you help kind of change some of my conversations with people in my lives, because I can scream about politics with the best of them. And I'll probably do it here occasionally, and I apologize if it gets too loud. But what you have always done is again, as I said earlier, led with empathy and compassion, which are things that drive my politics. But also, I sat down last night, and there was something you said early on where you was like, you listened to her speak, and on her resignation, you started to get emotional. Even I went, oh no, Pat, don't get too emotional. But if you listen, to what you were saying and your larger point, this isn't about Marjorie Taylor Greene's change journey. It's about the change journey of others. And
and I was listening to all these.
Yes.
I was thinking of all of these people listening to her say, I'm not going to be a battered wife. And I was like, I've been trying to say that to these people. Yes. She just found the right words to say what I've been trying to say. Yeah. And I got emotional about it.
It's tremendously valuable. We talked a little bit about the big tent stuff last week. That always comes up. It's almost a meme at this point that's meaningless. But like, as much as I said, like, Liz Cheney can come hang out in the tent, I don't want her in the VIP section. I really do love what she said. And you and I had a little talk last week about it. Like, I want to be clear to you. I love what she said during the election. I love what her now late father said during the election. And I don't like him at all. Consider him a war criminal.
Right.
But we do need someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Whether she could be completely playing this, Pat. And, and everyone said, 2 days, she retires 2 days after she gets her pension. If you're truly going to fight Marjorie, why don't you do it in office? But now she might do it at a more state level. She might feel that's more effective. And that's not abnormal. I've heard Congress people secondhand, but I've heard them say to people I know, there's nothing I can do. It's such a battle right now. And this guy at the top is the problem. I want to see, again, I talked about ripples. This is a potentially powerful ripple that is less about her and more about what her words will do when they hit their intended targets.
Exactly.